everybody, it's Christine McDaniel here with another weekly episode of the Co-Living Code Show, which is on iTunes. So you guys can listen to the podcast. You can listen on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube if you want to watch the video. And every week, I'm fortunate enough to bring amazing founders of co-living concepts from around the world. Today, we actually have Luca Bovone. He is over with Projects. And they have two locations. They actually have Berlin and they also have Madrid. So we'll dive into deep kind of what made them choose those two cities to start with. I know they've opened in 2017. They already have 155 rooms. So they've definitely, kind of gone big quickly. And we'll definitely talk about their expansion plans for the future. So let's just launch right into it, Luca. Maybe in 1 to 2 minutes, like what made you get into this industry of co-living? I know you were on the Dropbox team for the European market, right? Originally, before you did this?
Yes. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's very interesting to talk about my experience, and I follow your podcast. So thanks for the opportunity. So personally, it was a very personal choice from personal experience. So I was traveling a lot, working for Dropbox, but before that, just studying, and I lived in Asia for a while, the United States and so on, and I always found the same issues when going to a new place, and they're connected to, the whole bureaucracy, the fact that all information is always scattered in local websites, the fact that you don't know the community where you land, the apartment where you land, your roommates and so on. And then even when you do get an apartment, and even if it's a great apartment, you still have a lot of hassles like bills to split, some fees from the government that you don't know what they are. And so by finding, crystallizing these points, then with myself and my co-founder Giorgio, we thought, what if we could finally create a housing that we really need, that provides standardized design that is of high quality, that has everything you need, a focus on community, so people sharing space and experiences with like-minded people, and of course the simplicity enabled by technology, both in finding the property, but also once you're into keeping yourself completely hassle-free. And that's why basically in March of 2017 we started Projects, and very happy with the path we've done so far.
Yeah, so only 2 years, almost, exactly 2 years actually. Yeah. Did you guys start with Berlin or did you guys start with the other location?
Yeah, no, we started with Berlin. So actually, we have to. So Jonas, if you're listening, that was one of our first customers, and he's been with us for exactly 2 years. So thank you for being with us the whole 2 years of our own company. We started in Berlin. So we started very scrappy with one location with 7 bedrooms. So that in the center of Berlin, in the Kreuzberg area. And then from there, basically we use that as an MVP. Start taking the pictures and content, and we use that to basically leverage that experience and raise some seed funding from some both angel investors in the venture capital space, but also in the real estate space. And through that money, then we were able basically to scale to 100 plus rooms right now.
That is amazing. And so how many rooms in Madrid total and how many in Berlin?
Yeah, so right now we have about 130 here in Berlin, and we're launching just now the first property outside of Berlin in Germany, which is in Madrid. And that's about 25 rooms, but we're very bullish on the Spanish market, so we're going to expand pretty heavily between Madrid and Barcelona, and we plan to have about 200 rooms in Spain by the end of the year. So we have aggressive plans.
I love that. And then do you guys are you guys 100% occupied? Are there waiting lists?
We have 100% occupancy. Actually, now that we have a little bit more data, we can, what we say is, we have actually 97% occupancy, because we use usually, 1 or 2 days just to clean up, the property when there's move in, move out. So there's a kind of intrinsic, let's say 3% vacancy, but it's something that we want to keep, right? Because you don't want to, have people move in, move out too fast. Otherwise, the property doesn't keep the standards of, cleanliness, and so that's what we aim for. Yes, but we've always been, occupied 100%. We actually received something like 10 times the demands that we could ever, afford in terms of our own supply. It's been great so far.
Perfect. And then what is the average stay? Like, is there a minimum monthly stay?
Yeah, of course. So basically, I mean, because of regulations that changes, of course, across geographies. In Berlin, we have our basically strict minimum stay of 3 months, because yeah, of regulation basically, and our average stay is about 6 months. So, and that's kind of what we aim for. We don't want, we don't necessarily want people to stay for too long, because then it sort of the community around the properties then gets quite stale, and then people are not investing as much in the community as they were when they first joined and didn't know anybody. And we also don't want people to leave too early, right? So the 6 months average is something that we aim for, and we're pretty happy to be around that number.
And then do you guys personally live in the community also?
I lived in it for about 18 months, so the first 18 months, and then for personal reasons I had to move out, so I'm not anymore. But yeah, I have for a long time. So I was the first user, and I actually built myself and my co-founder built all the furnitures for the first property. Like I have pictures of us with like mountains of property of items on the ground, assembling stuff. So it was very 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 scrappy to start.
No, I love it. And I mean, I went on your guys' website, but I haven't been to your property yet. But luckily now I'm here in Amsterdam. So I'm definitely going to come over to Berlin. So I'll let you know when I'm able to make it over and take a look in person. But I've heard amazing things about about that property for sure. So, and your website's beautiful. And so do you guys, my next question is, do you guys host any events, whether they're internally or external events where you invite the public in?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have right now the 130 rooms in Berlin. They're split over 4 properties, so 4 local communities in 4 different neighborhoods. So we tend to organize events that are centralized, so into either our office, which is a large sort of space, or in some bars, or even in gardens. So we've organized anything from yoga classes in the gardens, in the park, sorry, the public spaces, or movie nights at our office with 30, 40 people showing up and watching the movie. So we do have this kind of events, and what we tend to do is, and also the way that we tend to sort of differentiate ourselves, is that a lot of the co-living companies, they market themselves a lot like sort of co-working and living. So working and living, the intersection between working and living, and we try to actually be the intersection between culture and living. So we don't want to speak about work. We don't do any sort of networking events. We don't do any work-focused things. We just do events that are completely, outside of what the traditional work is conceived.
Oh, that was my next question. Okay, so that's interesting. So it's the intersection of living and culture. Do you
Yeah.
guys have like co-working spaces on the property at all, or not really?
No, we don't. We don't have any proper co-working spaces. No, we don't. We don't operate any of that. We have, depending on the property, we have different sort of common spaces. For example, the Madrid building, which is, I would say, our newest one, and also the most beautiful, has a large sort of common area that is made of a dining area, and then basically like a big TV sort of chill out zone. And so we don't really encourage people to work there, or to do meetings and so on. It's more about events, parties, food, art, and all this kind of stuff, rather than work.
That is really interesting. No, you're probably the first concept and I've done a lot of these interviews where, yeah, it's just you guys are bridging like a separation, and it's not
Yeah.
merging, and then maybe it
Yeah,
provides more
yeah,
work-life balance.
so yeah, exactly. We're also focused on work, and even, I mean, to be honest, a lot of our customers work for all the top tech companies, and so on. So of course there's a lot of you already have so much of that throughout your day. You probably don't need another another, more time speaking about funding rounds and like numbers after 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. So that's what we aim for, to have a different kind of conversation brought into our community.
And then what is the demographic? So you kind of said a little bit of it. What's the demographic of the people that are staying at projects?
Sure. So we have basically the age varies between, let's say, 22 and 32. So in that kind of bracket, and we have about, I think, 60% male and 40% female, and I think it's 80% international and 20% local. So it's a very international crowd for sure.
Nice. And then what technology or software do you guys use to power kind of the back end of the operations?
I mean, right now we have plenty of softwares, that go from intercom, for example, for community sort of support, to like newsletter, softwares and all this kind of stuff. We are undergoing now a major sort of restructuring of that because we have like this software proliferation, as you call it. So we're using too many of them, and we definitely need to cut down. So we're definitely looking into something that could sort of consolidate, some of those flows. So we have, right now we have, applications coming in with one software, then they go into sort of CRM, into another software. Then when somebody, sends a support request, goes into intercom. So it's like there's all these silos, right? And what we're looking for is a product, either an existing one or a custom one. We're still looking into it, and that could potentially provide very simple CRM where that follows the customer from the moment in which gets into the property into the moment in which basically leaves, right? And throughout that tenure, follow the customer. Yeah.
Nice. No, that totally makes sense. And then so you kind of told us your guys' growth plan for this
Yeah.
year. Are you guys going to start going into other markets, other cities?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, we have a pretty aggressive international expansion plan. So we should get to about 350 rooms by the end of the year. That's our goal. So most of them are already committed or signed. So it's pretty safe. And after that, so it's probably going to be between Spain and Germany. So that those are going to be our first markets, and then we're, let's say, looking into Italy and Portugal as our second or third, fourth markets to get into. Some of our investors are from Southern Europe, and some others are from Germany. So I would say that that's kind of our natural, expansion plan.
That makes sense. That totally makes, yeah, of course, right? And so my last question, Luca, which I ask everybody this, is so that's the future of projects. Now, where do you see the future of co-living as an industry going?
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, I think some form of co-living or housing as a service will take over the whole housing market at some point, right? So I think that, right now it's, as always, there's the early adopters. There are, the young professionals, the millennials, the creative people that are living into these kind of shared spaces. But because of the macro trends, like, increase in population, there would be 1 billion more people by 2030. So, these kind of macro trends actually push even governments to more innovative solutions that are more efficient for the sustainability of the cities. And so I just think that the whole basically rental market will turn into some form of co-living or housing as a service, rather than just now sort of the millennial young professional sort of category, more into even the elderly eventually living in some kind of co-living product. And in the terms of like the industry, I really think that now there's a proliferation, of course, of co-living companies, and just like with the hotel industry, for example, eventually there will be a consolidation. So a lot of these companies then will just congregate to create more large companies with more affirmed brands. And so if other co-living founders want to get acquired, please send me an email, and we would be glad to talk to you about that.
No, it's so funny. And I have this conversation with a lot of people, I'm in this space every day, all day. And for co-living, and I'm wondering, we kind of are putting our bets down, like what's going to be the global brand that just hits 100 cities around the world, like Tokyo, like every major city. What's that recognizable global brand going to be?
Yeah, I agree. It's a great discussion. I mean, I'm starting to talk about this a lot also with our investors and future investors. And we really believe that there's going to be some consolidation. I'm not sure that one company will be able to do that, basically from scratch. But rather, as I said, through some consolidation. So maybe there's going to be one big player in the US, and then one big player in Asia, and one in Europe, and then those three will consolidate into one major brand. And that's actually what happened in the hotel industry with Starwood and Marriott. All these brands eventually coming together and creating these massive global brands. So yeah, it's very exciting to be in the industry. I think everybody's going to benefit from it, both the users, the brands, all the service providers. So it's just very exciting to be part of it.
No, you're exactly right. And I'm so excited to see where that goes, because you're exactly right. Like, people are becoming more global citizens and they're jumping around the world. So it's like that recognizable brand that they know that they're going to get anywhere in like Starbucks, the coffee's going to taste the same anywhere in the world. Right. So it's that brand that's going to nail it all the way around the world. And you can have a membership and just kind of jump from each location.
Absolutely.
So.
And it's a function of scale, of capital raised as well. There's a lot of factors into play, and yeah, it's just interesting to see, who is going to be that brand, and of course we hope it's going to be us. So.
Cool. You heard it here first, folks, on the Co-Living Coach Show, Luca and projects. No, again, the first time I saw your website a while back, I was just like, I love what you guys are doing. You could tell you guys are taking it to the next level, and I'm here to support for sure and cheer you guys on. And I'll definitely, like I said, I'll reach out and come visit the Berlin location, one of the locations soon. And yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Cool. Well, Luca, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it. And yeah, good luck with everything. We'll be watching.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.